What's going on, folks? J94 here with my first Borderlands 4 build guide. As you've already guessed, because you searched for it most likely and it's what you are looking for, this is a build guide for Cash and it is focusing on his totems. Now, before we even get into this video, this is not a min-maxed meta build. This isn't gonna melt bosses in 0.5 seconds, but if you're like me, you're a bit more on the casual side of the gaming spectrum and you just want to have some fun, let the totems do most of the work, you tidy up the stragglers, still deal some ridiculously good damage, and have a lot of fun along the way, this may just be the build guide for you. So do me a favour, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's get into the build. Now, the idea here for this build is very simple. We just want to be stacking as much possible skill damage, action skill cooldown, action skill duration, all of that good stuff. We just want to be throwing those dice on the ground, spawning as many totems as possible. We want to be running around shooting the odd enemy to get duration back by getting kills. Class mod also does give us the bleed damage, so it means that Cash is doing a substantial amount of damage himself as well, with some decent guns and some decent additions to the build. But without further ado, enough waffling on from me, there'll be plenty of that through the rest of the video. Let's get into the skill tree. Right, so here we are. Let's have a little peek at the skill tree here. So as you can see, we're very heavily invested into the green tree. That is 48 points into the green tree and then an 11-point dip into the red tree. This is purely just to get that third augment slot. So I chose Unleashed for extra fire rate for guns and action skills, and 5 points into Hard Boiled, which is action skill duration whenever you gain a stack of fortune. So they were kind of a bit of a no-brainer just to get enough points into the tree to get down to Devil's Tines for a third augment slot. So this is where the meat of the build really is. I'm not going to go into in-depth details on why everything melds and works together, because honestly, there really hasn't been any of that. I've looked at what I thought would work for totems, and honestly, it's really fun. There's a lot of flexibility here that you can change around, adapt to however you want to do it, but this is working really well for me at the moment. I might do a little bit more tinkering with stuff as time goes on and we get more content, but for now, this is working pretty well. So we've got 5 points into Charm Bracelet, 5 into Ready to Roll. We've got that additional augment slot with Devil's Tines in this tree, 5 into Bone Meal Ticket. Pretty much everything that I've chosen is just focusing on either skill damage, skill cooldown rate, skill duration, and then there's again more action skill duration there. We've got that extra augment slot, and then even as we go down here on the left hand side, we've got 5 points into Turn of Fate, 3 points into Fortune's Favour. Again, this is lifesteal and then extra damage based on how full your health and overshield are. And into the middle tree, we've got 5 points into Potent Posse, 5 points into Restless Remains. Restless Remains is a really good one because it gives you totems a chance to respawn when they die, and the more fortune stacks you have, the greater that chance. And 5 points into Potent Posse because it's a fortune skill, and the more stacks you have, the greater the bonus to your companion's damage and your gun damage as well. Over onto the right hand side tree, we've got 3 points into Accursed Bones. Now I will say this is a bit of a caveat because I got extremely lucky with my glass mod drop. One of the first gamer mods that I got had a +5 into it, so I've actually managed to take this from 5 out of 5 points down to 3. You can probably take out an extra point here and put it somewhere else, because with the lifesteal from all the different sources, you don't really go down that much. You don't really struggle for life and overshield, so you can kind of play around with the amount of points here. Obviously, if you don't have a 5 points into it from your class mod, you may want to keep a few more points in. But then we've also got 5 points into Graveyard Shift. This is just, again, action skill cooldown rate for every enemy that you have jinxed. We've got 5 points into Tormented, which is more critical hit damage, which is increased against jinxed enemies, and then that point into Call, which is automatic crits against jinxed enemies when you activate an action skill. And the way that this works, you're trying to get your action skill going as often as possible, so you're really focusing on totem damage. But like I say, there's loads of room for changing things around. If you do decide to give this build a go, please come back into the comments, let me know if you've changed anything around, what you felt worked better for you. But yeah, like I say, this isn't a really min-maxed meta build. This was just something I wanted to try and have a bit of fun with the totems. and honestly, it's worked. Whether that be the fact that Cash is just a really well-balanced character, or maybe I just got lucky this time, who knows. But it's really fun. For the augments, I use Three's Company. Now this one is really good, because if you get lucky and you roll this one, you immediately gain a Cleromancy charge back. So you'll see in one of the clips, I just keep rolling the dice. Threes keep coming up, and then you get that charge straight back, so you just get to keep throwing the dice out. This is a really nice one. I always have this one equipped. Secondly, the other one I always have equipped is Mighty 9. This is whenever Cash kills an enemy, you restore duration to all other totems. Again, this is really nice. I know the build focuses around the totems, but Cash does have to shoot enemies as well. Also helps with your lifesteal, helps the totems get their duration back, helps with your cooldown. The third one that I run the majority of the time is Dirty Dozen, and to be perfectly honest, that's mainly because I really like the Chaos Totems. They're very strong, especially if you get badass totems. But the minimum fortune stat count based on how many active totems he has can also be really strong. But this one would be the one that I would swap out. Sometimes you could swap it out for 5 is alive, because then you get the extra Cleromancy charge as well. You could even swap it for Heavenly Sevens to get extra duration for Cash's Bone Totems. There are a lot of different ways that you could build this, but yeah, this is the one that I've found has worked best for me, and I've had a lot of fun doing this build. I am by no means a theory crafter. This isn't a meta build, but it's fun, and I really hope that you give it a go and let me know in the comments what you think of it. So for the inventory, for the weapons and stuff that I've been using, I've kind of just been running with the usual stuff. I've been running with a Hot Slugger, a Shalashaska, a Bod, and a Scoot and Shoot. I do have pretty good rolls for those weapons, but you kind of need something that you're comfortable with that does a decent damage output, just to put a little bit of pressure on enemies and get that action skill duration back for your totems. As far as firmware, obviously the only option for action skills is Skillcraft, which sadly, yes, is a UVH6 exclusive bit of firmware. So this one was a bit of a pain in the backside to get hold of. It's not completely necessary that you have 3 points into this. I was running this build with no Skillcraft firmware equipped, and I was still having an absolute ton of fun. But it's nice to have. It's extra damage for your skills. And then for the other bit of firmware, I'm trying out High Caliber. Now, I couldn't really think of another bit of firmware that would be massively useful for this. I was wondering if the projectile speed would affect the totems. Now, I'm not going to lie, I can't really tell. If anybody much smarter than me knows the answer to that question, please do let me know in the comments down below. I'd be very interested to see if it does affect it. But yeah, this is kind of what I've been running with for a while now. And as far as the rep kit goes, we've got a triple bypass with accelerator. Again, we want to get that action skill back as soon as possible. I am running a crit knife because, again, just getting those critical hits, it helps with your overshield, your lifesteal, helps with your action skill recovery, all of that good stuff. This is the luckiest I will probably ever get in this game. I'm going to be completely honest. It's the gamer class mod. Now, I have tried this build with the whale class mod. I tried it with this one. The whale is good, but the problem comes when you don't have a lot of adds to stack your action skill recovery. If you're bossing and you're using the whale, you will find yourself running out of charges and running out of totems. And when you don't have that many totems, your damage drops. And when you don't have all the damage, your lifesteal drops. So I found this one to just be that little bit more of a struggle when it came to single targets. But again, play around with the build, see what works best for you. Let me know what you think. As for shield, we're running a What's for Dinner with Siphon. And then for your enhancement, I'm just running a Torg legendary enhancement because obviously I've been running the Scoot and Shoot, a Bod with Torg stickies, and the Shalashaska with Torg impact as well. So I've kind of just been running that, and I threw Skillcraft on there as well. And the only other thing for specializations is I just get down to Daredevil as soon as possible so that you could get Now with Caffeine, reducing action skill cooldown whenever a rep kit is activated. Hence why we are using the triple bypass. You get to activate that thing 3 times. If you time it right, your Cleromancy charges come back pretty quickly, pretty often, and you are never really without totems on the battlefield to do your bidding for you. And like I say, it is a very, very fun build. So there we have it, folks. That is my attempt at a Borderlands 4 build guide for Cash. Do me a favor if you've enjoyed this video, and if you've made it to this point, thank you so much for the support. It means a lot. go that little one step further, please, and hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to push towards 500 subscribers before the end of the year, so every free press of that button is hugely, hugely appreciated for my small little corner of YouTube. And if you want to come and hang out while I am live over on Twitch, that is twitch.tv/J94gaming. I am live at 12 PM to 5 PM UK time, Monday to Friday. But yeah, until then, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Drop a comment down below if you try this out, or let me know what your favorite cache build is, and I will see you in the next one.